Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. Tonight on the show, we're going to be doing something a little different. Tonight, we're about to dive in a bit into the economy of Eve Echoes. More importantly, we're going to focus on the market history data regarding PLEX. Now, what we have here in our chart is there's two sets of layers. There's the average transaction price, which you can see it's oscillating given the important milestones that we have, and we have the transaction volume, which is represented by the orange dots. And as you can see on the left side, we have the price. Now, the x-axis represents the date. As you can see, we've got 13 August when the game launched. That's the first time that any transactional data appears, because duh. And we are doing this until the present day, which is 10 of November 2020. Now, there's all around bits and parts that I'd like to point out about how the PLEX market has evolved, and we're going to tackle initially the first area, which is the first month after launch. So as you can see, there's a trend growing on, and there's quite some volumes there that don't get unnoticed, because right from the beginning people started buying off PLEX and started dumping them onto the market. Now, the price was so low that you could just run a couple of missions and you would just get a decent sufficient amount of PLEX like to cover your game time for like 3, 4, 5 months. Depends. But as the players actually started getting into higher tiers, getting more bigger ships and farming more ISK, you can see the volume has slightly increased in the meantime from the launch of the game until September 11. That's usually marked by a decrease in dumping of PLEX on the market and an increase of buying PLEX by the players. Now, what this led to was the fact that the PLEX actually started going up on the price tag, and the amount available on the market getting lower. Hence, people started putting PLEX sales at even higher rates, mainly because the lower rates PLEX were already getting sold out, and this started a decent growth around the end of August, which I think was marked by people reaching tier 6, stuff like that. That's mostly where the price started to just flatten out for a short period of time, because right before 11 of September, something started spiking the PLEX prices even more. As you can see, there's also the average volume transaction has some spikes in the orange bar. This is marked by the fact of the players reaching tech level 7. Now, tech level 7 was an important milestone because it opened up more possibilities, more ships, more gameplay. And what people did actually immediately after grabbing tech level 7, they started farming even more. And of course, as you can see, there's some PLEX price in transaction volume that basically caused the PLEX market to raise the bar even more. So people coming in to dump PLEX on the market found the prices that usually were before, a day or two before, were actually starting to get depleted. So what they did was either they increased their price because they saw that the items were being sold, or the new people that started dumping items, PLEX on the market, actually put them at a higher rate, speculating that all the PLEX below them will eventually get sold, and thus raising the bar even more. So that's a big increase in price from below 140,000 ISK to an increase to way above that threshold, reaching 200,000 ISK. Now, over the following weeks, since that point, you can see that a stagnation in PLEX price happened. Again, people were not so interested in PLEX. Those that had them already had them. Those that wanted to sell them couldn't put up a bigger price because they wouldn't sell. So you can see some margins here dropping every now and then. Most of the dots that you can see that are below the market average, the average transaction price, are basically buy orders that were placed with a very low amount of ISK. Like I'm putting a buy order for 50,000 ISK at PLEX, even though the sell orders are around 200,000 ISK per PLEX. And what that happened and why those dots are there is because people who wanted to get rid of PLEX and actually needed ISK were not willing to wait for the market in order to sell the PLEX, so they basically just sold them immediately to the highest bidder. And that's why those lower dots represent. Those are the buy orders that got PLEX with prices below the market average. Now moving on towards the October, to the 11th of October, something more interestingly happened there. Is the market fluctuated a bit until people started learning about the new feature that was about to come. And the feature that actually hit the PLEX market really good and shook it from its core with an increase of almost 200%. Was the introduction of the skill reset function. So right before this was launched, because it was launched on the 14th of October, if I'm not mistaken, right when the feature was announced and marketed, people started piling up on PLEX. And this is represented by the transactional history as showing us that the PLEX price started to increase. Not to mention the people that were already selling them started modifying their sell orders to, because the demand was much higher, started to add more into the PLEX price. Also, as you can see in the lower bar, the transaction, the quantity, the volume transaction is not that big in terms of how much it was bought or sold by the players. This speculation actually led to profit, because once the skill reset feature launched, guess what happened? People started buying off PLEX like crazy, and you can see the spike in volume, in transaction volume, and you can also see the spike in PLEX price. So the price spiked so high, close to 500,000 ISK. What happened then is, after the immediate buy-off of all the orders, suddenly all the PLEX prices starting going back down to the original median that we can see around 11 of October, and it continued to grow at a steady pace, a low but steady pace until November. As you can see, the median is trying to go up and about. Of course, all the other dots, as you can see as well here, are basically buy orders that got fruitioned. People wanted to sell their PLEX not on the market but immediately, so they could benefit from the ISK. And that what happened, those buy orders were fulfilled, and basically some guys or gals managed to buy PLEX at even half the average selling price. What do you guys think? Where is the PLEX price going? How much volume do you estimate that is going to happen in the near future? Because as you can see, there's been some updates recently, including the one today, that a new feature has been introduced or will be introduced very soon, which is the PLEX exchange. So if you're trying to buy something off the market and you don't have the necessary ISK, you can exchange immediately on the spot some PLEX that you have into ISK and use the ISK to buy the item without just trying to sell the PLEX on the market and waiting for so long. So how do you estimate that this will go even higher, or will it start dropping? There's a certain influx of people and people want to buy off PLEX, but after people will stop buying PLEX because, I don't know, let's say saturation will occur eventually, even if new players come and go, the PLEX price is bound to stagnate, just like we see in the other previous months for a certain period of time. Well, probably just until a new feature rolls up around the corner and starts getting all the people crazed and hyped to buy even more PLEX. So please leave your comments below and let me know what you think that the market evolution for PLEX will be. And as always, thank you guys for watching. A very big shout out to my channel supporters. See you guys next time. Cheers.